non-destructive versus pad parameters. And I know that I've actually created videos on this, but I didn't touch on a very important thing about these two. And what it is, and I'll simplify this, is that non-destructive can only have the sample sliced in one way, whilst pad parameters can have the same samples sliced in many different ways. And you can copy programs of pad parameters and have different slices for that sample. Okay, so I have a sample right here. You can see the waveform right there. I'm going to cut it. So I'm in the trim mode. I'm going to jump over to chop. I'm going to go threshold. I have my 4 slices right there. So I'm going to convert these slices. Convert, non-destructive, do it. Okay, let's get back to the main. If we come here and select the next program, it will show you new sample. So that's our program. Okay, let me just rename this real quick. Do it. Okay, so this is a non-destructive. You can also see that it is a non-destructive when we go to the program edit, and you'll see numbers in there. Okay, that tells us that this program has non-destructive slices. What happens if I copy a pad? So I copy this pad to that one. And this, I touched on this on my videos online, but I'll show you again. If I move that endpoint from this pad, it will move the endpoint from that pad as well. It's always using the same slice, okay? So it's really just the same slice, but on another pad, okay? And this reflects only the start and end points of the slice. It has nothing to do with the rest of the parameters inside the program. So if I change the parameter there, it's different, okay? This is only about start and end points of the slices. Okay, so as you see, it's always the same slice. So if I move the endpoint of this slice, it will move the endpoint of that slice as well, because it's the same. I'm going to put it back again. Okay. Let's say I move the endpoint here, slice number 1, okay? I go back into the sample edit and have a look. The chop there, it moved the endpoint as well here in the chop area. If you go to the program, you can also see that it changed the endpoint in a program edit. Keep a lookout for that. Another thing I want to show you is that if I copy the program, so duplicate the program, okay? Now we have program M, the original, program M1, okay? If I go to program edit here in the program M1 and I change the endpoint, okay, of this slice, it's going to affect that slice because it's the same slice as we saw before, but it also affects the other program. Okay, look there. So because you're using non-destructive, the slice that you created will always be the same start and end point, whether you copy it to another pad or if you copy the entire program. If you change that start and end point of that slice that you created here in the chop area, have a look there, it's changed there as well. Whenever you're using non-destructive slices, and if you change the start or the end point of that slice, it will affect that slice whether you copied it to another pad or you copied it to another program. It will always be the same start and end point, okay? Okay, before we go ahead, I want to show you another thing here. If we go to the program here and we press on the shift, we can see that there's a 2-pad option there, okay? And what that does is that it transforms the slice from non-destructive to pad, okay? So remember that is important. You can change a slice from non-destructive to pad parameters right there, okay? If I go here to the chop area, press shift, you have the option to clear all the slices. Now, if you do that, all the slices that are in the program will disappear as well, okay? So if you see the slices that I have there. And this will happen on both of the programs, okay? Because they are associated to that chop area right there in non-destructive. This doesn't happen in pad parameters. So if I go and press clear all the slices disappeared from the chop area. The program, they disappeared as well because the program was a non-destructive. If you go to the main window, there are no more slices in there on both of the programs because they were the same slice, even though they are two separate programs. Okay, so this will not happen when you use pad parameters. If you press undo, you're out of luck. That doesn't happen. You don't get your slices back. All we have left is re-chopping the sample again. So I'm going to go to the chop area again. I'm going to cut it into 4 bits. Okay. I'll slightly put it at the beginning of each slice. Okay. And now I'm going to convert this into a pad parameter. Convert. Let's go pad parameters. Do it. Okay. Back to the main window. There we have it. If we go to the program edit, you can see that they're now not numbers, but it says pad. Okay. If we go in here and we trim this, we're in the program edit. Okay. We trimmed the sample in the program edit screen, and now we're going to go into sample edit. See that in the chop screen, they are still the same. They're not trimmed closely to the start of that slice. But if we go to the program, you can see that the start point now, it's close. It's right on top of the sample of the slice there. So in the program area, we can see that the changes that we did here in the program edit are the same, but not on the chop area. They are still the same slices that we first cut. So what this means is that I can clear all the slices here, but in the program, I still have my slices, and I can go back into the sample edit and re-chop this again. I can say now I want 14 regions of this and convert this. Okay. So with pad parameters, I can cut my sample in different ways, cut it again and again, and you'll always be creating new slices. With non-destructive, you can only cut your sample one way, and you always have to use those slices, okay? But I showed you the way to transform those slices to pad. Now this is not highlighted because all the slices here are pad parameters. If this was a non-destructive slice, you'll have the option to transfer this to pad parameters. Okay, I think this is important because non-destructive and pad parameters are really different on the way they work. They're not the same. And if you cut a lot of sounds, you definitely need to know how to use these two. So this is a major difference between the two. Pad parameters allows you to cut your sound many different ways. Non-destructive, once you create the slices in the screen for non-destructive, you're gonna be fixed to only those slices, okay? You cannot create new slices from that. Okay, and this is something that I wanted to share. I hope I was clear enough for you guys to understand this. If you still have doubts about it, just leave a question below the video, okay? Okay, thank you guys. Take care.